How can these guys go back to their respective teams?
It's an 18-14 East lead. And the East now going with the three members of the Detroit Pistons. Fadeaway by Nash off the mark. Paul Pierce of the Boston Celtics on the floor, along with Antoine Jamison of the Washington Wizards. Iverson with the steal. And his teammate Carmelo Anthony draws the foul.
We're starting to see some of the combinations here that Doc Rivers talked about. He got the three Detroit Pistons player out there. He has Paul Pierce with him. He told us before the game he'd like to see those four guys play together.
Foul is called on Rasheed Wallace. And additional substitutions. Dirk Nowitzki, after finishing up his interview with Craig Sager, is able to check in along with Amari Stoudemire of the Phoenix Suns. Well, during the fourth quarter tonight, fans can vote for the All-Star Game MVP and enter to win a trip for two to the 2008 NBA Finals. Just log on to NBA.com or text the player's last name to 38657. 38657. And as you know, standard text messaging rates do apply at all times.
That's good to know.
Yes. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining. In this first quarter, the East up by 3, the West in the midst of an 8-0 run. There's Billups. He went behind the back and banks it home.
Chauncey Billups, such a brilliant point guard. The reason that I pick Detroit coming out of the East, I think he's going to be the difference maker. I think he's playing at a level now when he was in the MVP of the Finals. And when he and Rip Hamilton are on their game with Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace, you throw in the better bench now for Detroit. I think even as well as Boston is playing right now, you're going to have to go through the Pistons.
Well, the question mark is Rajon Rondo. And, speaking with Doc before the game, he was kind of aloof about are they going to make a play before the trading deadline? Is there anything out there? As Allen Iverson comes up with the steal and tight ropes the sideline.
Almost had Stoudemire on that hook dunk. Here comes Billups. It counts in the foul committed by Nash.
Well, I agree with you, Coach, because Chauncey Billups, we know he's wins the ring right here. Rip Hamilton, his teammate rather in the fast break. If you're going to foul someone going to the hoop, you've got to give them a foul. Can't let them have one, even though this is a glorified pickup game. Can't give up easy ones, Coach.
Chauncey Billups, one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, missing on that possible three-point play. He's a 90% foul shooter.
That's fifth best.
The volleyball pass attempted by Iverson. And here comes Billups. He has Pierce on the wing. Goes the other way. Fouled his teammate Rip Hamilton. And you look at the Eastern Conference, 11 for 20 from the field, and they have 10 assists on the 11 field goals, 3 apiece for Jason Kidd and LeBron James. And off the turnover, the West gets it back. Nowitzki. Wallace with the rebound. Remember 2 years ago when Flip Saunders, the head coach of the Pistons, and Pierce able to knock it down, was coaching the East. He had 4 of his players on the All-Star team, and he put them in at the same time, and that was the best basketball we had seen in an All-Star game in some time. Here's Iverson. He had the step, gives it up. Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire. And the East now leads 26-19.
Well, how much is he going to benefit when Shaq comes back? And we all are anticipating him coming back next Wednesday against that big matchup with the Lakers. The room's in the middle because Amari Stoudemire is going to go to his natural position, which is the power forward.
And a timeout has been called with 2:10 left. In this first quarter, the East with a 26-19 lead here in the Big Easy. Better than 18,000 here at the New Orleans Arena, the home of the New Orleans Hornets, with 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in this first quarter of the 57th NBA All-Star Game. A crowd that includes Terrell Owens, incidentally the MVP of Friday night's celebrity basketball game here in New Orleans. There's Ludacris, Alyssa Milano, courtside, along with Gabrielle Union. and the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, I know on Saturday, the governor was kind of eyeing Charles over here. Charles got a little nervous when we were calling the action. The governor being so close, he thought he was going to turn into the Terminator.
There's Pierce going high off glass. Paul Pierce in his 10th season out of Kansas, averaging better than 21 a game.
Yeah, he's a happy man this year with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. He finally has pieces with them. I mean, last year went through a terrible year, 24 wins. He tried to carry the whole load of that team.
And Chris Paul, who has had an outstanding season for the hometown Hornets, has come on along with that man who just scored, David West. And here's it from the crowd. David West from Xavier of Ohio in his 5th NBA season has emerged. Took him several years to reach this point, but he's averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds. There's Jamison for 3, one-handed by Wallace. Phillips with the step, and then was hit out of reach-in.
So I can relate, Marv, to a little bit to Chris Paul and David West. They're playing their first All-Star game here at home. I was able to do that as a Philadelphia 76er in the bicentennial year, 1976, and what an incredible experience it was to be in the All-Star game, number one, but to play at home made it even that much more special.
And Byron Scott, the head coach of the West, telling us that there were butterflies on the part of Chris Paul.
I forgot to leave tickets for my family. They had to come out on the court and get the tickets. They were still in my locker, so I can relate. I understand.
Byron saying when he stepped onto the court, talking of Chris Paul, he was nervous. He had not seen him like that. Nowitzki with his first bucket. And the East now leads 28-23. We're final minute of the opening quarter. Pierce played by West, goes to the step back.
Brilliant one-on-one player. Late in the game especially, he loves to get on this wing and get on that baseline. So strong, excellent free throw shooter as Amari Stoudemire unloading the 3. Mike D'Antoni told us the other day he could be a good three-point shooter if he really wanted to get into the gym and continue to shoot those, Marv.
All right, here's Pierce finding the open man, Antoine Jamison.
Well, Antoine Jamison definitely, along with Caron Butler, Gilbert Arenas out for more than half the season, really has picked up the slack offensively for the Wizards.
And Butler out with that hip injury, replaced by Ray Allen on the All-Star squad. In fact, Ray had a planned vacation to the Bahamas that he canceled after getting the word last Wednesday night at halftime of the Celtic-Knick game in Boston. Says he was delighted to make the change of plans.
Bourbon Street, New Orleans, or Atlantis. Wow. As much as I love the NBA, that hot sun, but this is great for Ray. People thought he initially should have been voted on as a reserve by the coaches because of the fantastic start the Celtics got off this year.
Well, the East will hold for final shot of this first quarter. We're down to 5 seconds. Rip Hamilton with 3 seconds to play in the quarter. Here comes Paul. They cut him off. And West had the ball slapped away. So that's the end of one. With the East leading the West 34-28. Hot shooting start for the East. 16 of 29 at 55%.